This is the Big Face Show.
Okay, so can we move on to something that I love?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I love sports and I love boxing.
Let's go.
You know, and recently been on the old YouTube, and you know there's a big fight with Conor Benn and Chris Eubank, and their dads fought back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And they were currently fighting in, I think it's April the 28th, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
And basically, one of the dads, his name is Chris Eubank Senior.
Yeah.
Doesn't want his son to fight because they've got like things like rehydration clauses and stuff like that in it, which is dangerous. Yeah. So he's come out recently and he's made a statement, which, if you don't mind, I'll play to you.
Yeah, play it to me, man.
Junior, you're smashing an egg against this guy's face. I taught you that. I didn't teach you that. Who taught you that? Did Karen teach you that? Who taught you that? That's disgraceful. I'm gonna stand in your corner. You must be mad. You must be mad. You're a disgrace.
You must be mad.
You're smashing an egg in someone's face and then you're saying, you're trying to justify it. There's no justification for that. There's nothing noble about that. Seconds out, you're welcome.
Madness.
So basically, my point is that his son is fighting, and his son recently went to a press conference and hid a egg in his Louis Vuitton jacket and smashed it over Conor Benn's face.
Madness.
It's not protocol. It's not something I've seen in boxing, but you know I've seen a lot of things in boxing and you know other contact sports.
Yeah.
But what I'm quite astonished about is that his dad won't go to the fight and give his son support. What do you feel about that?
Why won't he give his son support though?
Because he's saying that a 147 fighter shouldn't be fighting a 168 fighter. They made this fight a catch weight because of
147 against 160.
Yeah.
So that's like a slim guy fighting a fat guy almost.
It is.
Which doesn't make sense.
Well, give you a bit of context. Eubank Senior has already put somebody in hospital.
Okay.
And he had brain damage and nearly died.
Okay.
His name was Michael Watson.
Yeah.
And because of that travesty, he's like campaigning against cleaning up boxing.
I get it now. So it makes sense why he's against the 147.
That's right.
Fighting against the 160.
And that fight was supposed to happen 3 years ago, and Conor Benn got caught with PEDs, which is performance enhancing drugs.
Okay.
So he was banned.
And they were popping pills.
Yeah, he was popping pills. So that made it even worse because Chris Eubank's senior son has to come down at weight.
Okay. To fight him. Okay. Yeah,
so he's got to have a weight cut, and he's not allowed to rehydrate. Meaning that rehydration means that basically you go to the weigh-in, you weigh in, and then after that you can eat and you rehydrate. Well, he's not allowed to do that.
That's not alright. That's bad, man. How can you not be able to eat or drink? You can die like that.
Of course you can.
It doesn't make no sense that. But for me, even running just down the road, if I'm not ready for that run and I get tired, I'm gasping for air and drink.
But his son has made his decision.
Yeah.
He wants to fight. It's his body. It's his life. What do you feel the dad should be doing?
Boy, I feel that the dad is... First of all, as we just saw in that interview there, I could see that the dad wasn't happy with his son throwing the egg or hitting the egg at Conor Benn. And I can justify it. Reason why I would justify it and then I'll say that I'm against it is because, one, as his dad, he could have called his phone and talked to him about this and, you know, and told him, bro, you shouldn't have done that. And you know I don't like them things there. But as a famous dad, this is the flip side of it, he's a famous dad. And when your son is a big man carrying eggs in his Louis Vuitton jacket and talking about Louis Vuitton jacket and then hitting people with eggs, it's a bit foolish, you know? That's what kids do. So I understand when his dad's telling him, who taught you that?
But on the flip side, Conor Benn's dad, when he saw what happened with the egg, he grabbed Chris Eubank Jr. by the throat. Now this is the dad, you know, of Conor Benn, who fought Chris Eubank Senior, you know, grabbed his throat. Surely as the dad you see something like that and you have to come there and be there for your son.
Where was Chris Eubank Senior?
He wasn't there.
And this is what we're saying. But at the end of the day, look, TV is one thing. It doesn't mean that Chris Eubank Senior won't see whatever his name's dad in real life and won't approach him and say, yo, next time don't do that to my son. Chris Eubank Senior is a bad man. He might approach him and bite him, you never know. So we can look at it one way, but to get back to this thing here, I think he done well in telling his son off. Like, them things there we don't do. And plus, it's part of his son, is part of his image.
Well, I'll give you a little briefing on a little bit of things that's going on. Like, for instance, Conor Benn is basically saying to Chris, your dad doesn't like you, and all of these and everybody knows that your dad doesn't like you. You know, as a dad, and you're watching your son being humiliated in front of millions, surely you've got to put what differences aside and say, you know what, I'm going to go and be there for my son to let the people know that I do care for him. I'm not going to just let the people think that I don't care for my son.
Yeah, but again, that's internet and that's TV. Internet and TV will have you thinking that what Conor Benn is saying is real. But what Conor Benn is doing is entertainment. Of course Eubank cares for his son. The son is raised nice. The son is raised in the boxing. The son has got a good living. It's not like the boy doesn't live poor. He doesn't live poor at all. So what Conor Benn is saying is not real. It's fake. Now, where it goes wrong for me is that Eubank Senior is actually falling for what people are saying to him. How are you going to listen to people when you know that your dad treats you well? And what? You're going through this little bit of embarrassment. Your dad's been talking like a posh man his whole life. He's been going through embarrassment his whole life. He's still tooling it. To the point where he's here today and he's still tooling it. And that's what I think Chris Eubank is trying to show Senior, the Junior. Like, yo, no matter what, boy, you better be thick skin in this thing because it doesn't end. Me, I'm dark skinned, I'm dark skinned, they cuss me all the time, you some pretty light skin, and you crumble. And you just crumble over comments.
Yeah, because basically what he's basically...
We come from hardback, man. We unback youths. You know how our fathers stay.
He's campaigning in that basically these promoters, they don't care about the boxers. They're in it to make money.
Simple.
They don't care whether you're in a hospital bed, but I do.
You see? That's love right there. Like, Conor Benn can say stuff like, your dad doesn't care about you, but your dad is here protesting for you, begging that you, at 147, don't go fight a man that's just for a little bit of millions. It doesn't make sense. We already got it. You understand? I'm not saying that they're the richest, but we already got it, son.
Well, not necessarily. Chris Eubank went bankrupt about 4 years ago.
It doesn't matter.
But he is quite happy with his life.
We already got it, son. We might not be like everybody else, but boy, look after your health. And I don't think the dad's wrong for that.
Okay. So, make sure you tuned in, people.
Tune in, man. The Big Face Show.
Alright. Anyway.
Follow me on TikTok, man.